Welcome to Own the Chaos. The stock market is crazy and chaotic.
And crash. You son
Oh, God. Hold on. Pause.
Brad and Fat Man Zoom are here to help you own it.
They were targeting Wall Street when they should have been targeting Capitol Hill. They should have been targeting DC. This is the same thing, and this is what people keep missing.
Taking it to the suits, being relatable and hilarious.
You bought GameStop at 400, didn't you? To the moon, baby. To the moon.
Get ready to own the chaos in 3, 2, 1.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Own the Chaos. My name is Brad. The stock market is crazy and chaotic, and we made it our mission to help you guys own it. What a fantastic day so far today. It started off kind of boring, but we're going to get into some of the reasons as to maybe why. We also have plenty of earnings to talk about this afternoon, and Peloton was supposed to report this afternoon, but then it ended up reporting this morning. We're going to talk about all of that too. The stock is going nuts right now, and maybe we'll determine as to whether or not it's a buy or where it's going from here, and some of the other craziness that's been going on with that stock. But first, let me go ahead and get you guys started with our starting five. Lindsey Rice, Mike Hudson, Fernando Pereira, something like that. Rudy Brown, Savvy Money Show. You guys are our starting five. Thanks so much for tuning in. If you guys didn't get to the starting five, make sure you hit that subscribe and hit that notification bell to get notified when I go live at 3:45 Eastern time to get my reaction to the day in the market. Now, it has been a wild day today. Like I said, it would start off kind of boring, and many people thought that we were going to see this kind of just leveling off in the markets leading up to CPI numbers that'll get released on Thursday morning. If you guys aren't familiar with CPI, it's just Consumer Price Index, and it kind of lets us know where inflation's at. Are we continuing to see inflation rise? Have we leveled off? What's going on? Did it peak back in January, or did it peak back in December? We'll find out with those January numbers on Thursday. So some interesting stuff going on. Just wanted to check in, see what's going on with you guys. Good evening from Lakeland, Florida. It's still afternoon, right? I mean, it's 3:45. It's still afternoon. Is it evening, or is it? When does evening actually start for you guys? Maybe that's the first question. When's the evening start for you folks? And also, like, is supper the same thing as dinner? Because like my grandmother used to talk about supper and dinner and two different things. I don't know. Let me know what classifies the evening for you. Like afternoon is technically anything afternoon. So wouldn't 9 p.m. be like afternoon, or is it evening? Like, let me know. For me, I kind of think like 5 o'clock seems to be like the start of the evening, right? I don't know. I don't even know where I came up with that. Like it just happened to be, that's when my evening starts, is at 5 p.m. Let me know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I see Steve Jackson asking about Facebook. Facebook's down 40% from its highs. Pretty wild stuff. Thoughts on Facebook? I'll give you my thoughts on Facebook here in a moment. Lots of people tuning in though. I appreciate y'all. Yeah. Okay, so we got a couple of them. 6 p.m. says Chris Edwards. Mavis Beacon says 3. Okay, see that we got somebody in your corner. 3 p.m. Psy Crazy. Is it crazy? Is it Psy Crazy? Psy Crazy? I'm going to get that one. 5 p.m. is his or hers, whomever that might be. Who knows? Says Mavis Beacon. Darren Anderson is a very detailed answer here. Afternoon comes a second after 12 o'clock noontime. It lasts around 5:30 to 6 o'clock p.m., while evening starts at 5:36. It lasts around 8 o'clock. So then what? 8 o'clock is like nighttime. After 8 o'clock, it's night. You'll say good night after 8 o'clock. That seems kind of like probably the big consensus. I got you, like crazy. What's up, Matt Dix? See you in the house. Nothing to update you on Fat Man Zoom. We're still just kind of waiting. Friday seems to be the official day that this procedure that he's going through as far as the removal of his brain tumor is concerned. Really nothing else to report. Saw him today. He's just kind of chilling right now. It's not really anything else to report. He feels good. He's in good spirits, but nothing else to report on that other than that's the plan. I like this. Chris Edwards says, I think the older you are, the sooner the evening starts. I appreciate that. Before we get into anything, just want to invite you guys to check out the Chaos Crew. If you are not a part of the Chaos Crew, you can see some folks already are. They have little icons next to their names, little badges. They'll have the Bulls, the Bears, depending on how long they've been a part of the crew. If you guys aren't a part of the crew yet, consider doing so. Support the studio you see behind you. Support the channel, ladies and gents, and join the Chaos Crew, not just because we give you something in return. I give you a watch list every morning. I give you 5 stocks that I think are going to make moves. And today's was Peloton. Believe it or not, Peloton, I had said was going to be worth taking a look at. And I think that oh, shoot. Now it's not working. Oh, that's great. That's great. Gotta love technology when it doesn't work. It's great when it does, not great when it doesn't, right? But I'll go ahead and read off my little snippet on Peloton. I said Peloton moved over 20% yesterday, which is pretty wild. And the presumption that a potential buyer such as Amazon or Nike may swoop in. This morning, the CEO stepped down. The drama continues here for sure, but doesn't it make it a buy? And I said, I think there's a possibility that it still gets bought out. And I'll give you my thoughts on that in a second. It's super risky, but I would watch the price action and pay attention to the chart. And I gave my technical analysis for our exclusive Chaos Crew folks. I said, Peloton has to close over the 50-day moving average. Peloton hasn't closed over the 50-day moving average since August of last year. That level currently is at $35 a share, which it moved right past that today. Watch for this area to act as resistance, and it blasted right through it. Support is at 24. Obviously, we know where that story is going right now. But and I said RSI is in the 40s, which gives us a better risk-reward trade, in my opinion. And wouldn't you know it, it is going the hell off. Looks good, and I can't even show you guys my Peloton chart. Hold on. It's not the search function on there is not working. Let me show you guys real quick where Peloton is. Let's find it. There it is. So here's Peloton right now. It is now up 24%, was up much higher than that. Went as high as $40 a share and still rolling. Really not on anything related to their earnings. So their earnings came out earlier than expected. I think a lot of people, including myself, was expecting earnings to come in after hours, but the revenue was 1.13 billion versus the 1.14 billion. So they missed on revenue. The earnings per share was a loss of $1.39. The expectation was a loss of $1.18. So they missed earnings horribly. And so it's interesting, the reason the stock's going up, I still think is tied to the fact that there's a lot of people expecting earnings to expecting somebody to come in and buy them up. And I have some thoughts about this. By the way, I think that was pretty good on the watch list today to put Peloton on here, even with the 20% move that I had yesterday. If you guys took advantage of this and were part of the Chaos Crew, you would have seen the potential move here. Thanks to the watch list that went out this morning. Again, if you want to be a part of the Chaos Crew, hit that join button next to subscribe, or go to ownthechaos.com. Sign up to be a Chaos Crew member today. Certainly would appreciate it. Malta Goya says, like me, hell yeah. Malta Goya is a Chaos Crew member. We got Philip Stroh as a Chaos Crew member. Matt Dix is also a Chaos Crew member. We got so many Chaos Crew members in here tuning in. Appreciate you guys. Charlie Connor says, Peloton is nothing more than a squeeze. Definitely a lot of thoughts on this from my end. I think that Peloton is for sure a squeeze. It's squeezing right now, and I think that this is probably short-lived, especially if nobody comes in and makes any kind of offer. We've seen reports from Nike potentially making an offer in on Peloton. Amazon also rumored to be in the mix there. And does Apple actually start to think about being forced into this deal because of just competition? There's a lot of good things to like about Peloton, and obviously the management has been horrible, which is probably why the shift here from to move to a new CEO, which, by the way, he was the former CFO of Spotify. So interesting there from a content creation standpoint, because that's really kind of what Peloton is to a certain extent. They create content revolving around fitness on a physical bike. But nevertheless, maybe the change in leadership has got investors excited, or like who was it? whomever said that it was a nothing more than a squeeze. Yeah, I think that there's definitely that element as well. I wasn't quite sure what the short interest was on Peloton, but here's my thoughts. I still think that Peloton is a candidate to be acquired, regardless of a CEO change. Some people were speculating, well, now that they have a new CEO, there's no chance that that's happening. Well, what if the change in leadership makes it more attractive to buy now, right? You got the old CEO out that clearly just wasn't prepared for the demand that they were going to be experiencing through the pandemic. And to be fair, who was, right? But being able to handle it during that, I think that there was a lot of missed opportunities with Peloton, and we can cite back all the way to, not being able to keep up with demand for a very, very long time. And this was before there was supply chain problems and that sort of thing. So I think that this actually makes it more attractive to be an acquisition candidate. And maybe that's the reason why this is getting bought up, because some people think, like in my corner, that this makes them more attractive. You got somebody new that's in there that gives them an opportunity to work with them and negotiate on a potential sale. And mind you, the now former CEO, is just the chairman of the board at this point. He's still very, very involved with Peloton. He's not just leaving. So that also provides a different type of element to it. I think Peloton should be bought out. I think that they will be bought out. We'll see where it goes from here. One key thing here that I've always been a huge fan of and very kind of like impressed by is that even though the company's been poorly run from a management standpoint, their customer retention is incredible. Their churn rate's like 10%. So they keep 90% of their customers over a full year. That's incredible. That's like unheard of. You look at basic gym memberships, that churn rate's 50%. They only keep 50% of their members. Peloton's keeping 90. That's valuable. Either way you want to shake it. You can say that the Peloton is nothing more than a coat hanger, and we've heard that all the time. But the customer retention is super valuable. And I think that if a big company like Amazon or Nike or even an Apple, whomever, maybe somebody comes out of the blue, sees that as valuable, and they could take advantage of that and try to learn from it, how they were able to keep so many people onto their platform. So I think that that's certainly something that's super valuable to anybody who be looking to buy up a Peloton. Definitely want to hear your thoughts on this. If you guys are curious about where this goes, is it a buy from here? I think today was certainly the day to buy it and then maybe just trade it. I don't think this is something that I would hold on to. I know that I just got done saying that I think that they could potentially get bought out, but the fact of the matter is that this to me is just not a sustainable move. It went up 20% yesterday. It's currently up 25% right now. And I think that there's definitely going to be some profit taking or what have you, probably even tomorrow. We'll see. I just don't see how this continues to really sustain like this, but stranger things have happened, right? Hold on one second. I'm going to keep it going, guys. Keep things going here. I'm going to try to see if I can close out of Weeble. It's not even closing for me. Like I can't restart it. Hold, please. I got to do the old Control-Alt-Delete. There we go. It's back to working now. So there's my thoughts on Peloton and where that might be going. And who knows what happens after that. Chris Edwards, appreciate the love, man. Says these guys work hard to get you a lot for what you pay for. Yeah. And I didn't even say how much it was. It's $4.99 a month. You don't get anything like that anywhere else. That kind of value, you don't get it anywhere else. $4.99 a month. Okay. I see you guys chatting. The market is officially closed. S&P 500 closed up on the day at 0.84%, up 37 points, 45.21. That's pretty good. The Dow Jones is now up or closed up over 1%. NASDAQ was up 1 1/3. Crude oil is actually down. I think this is an opportunity to buy that. To be honest with you, I'm not worried about oil being down for one day. Not worried in the slightest. But you look at the nice move today, and I was actually surprised by this, just given the anticipation of CPI numbers and that sort of thing. So that'll be something to watch for tomorrow. I think that we could maybe see some of the gains that we made today in the markets kind of be given back tomorrow, only because of there's probably a lot of fear revolving around CPI numbers that'll come out tomorrow, as it relates to inflation and all that. So we have earnings today. Markets officially closed, as I stated. Right now, we have on the docket CMG or Chipotle, Lyft as well. Get that pulled up. And that looks to be moving. Actually, Lyft looks to be moving really well. Here's Lyft. As soon as I get those numbers, I'll be sure to share them with you. Feel free to throw them in the chat as I try to find them myself as well. But that looks pretty darn good. CMG, Chipotle looked like that was also starting to move as well. And there's Corsair. I didn't know if anybody had any interest in Corsair, but Corsair also had earnings today that they're releasing this afternoon. Doesn't look like there's much going on yet. It's up 1%, but on pretty low volume. So I don't think those numbers are in just yet. And then we also have, I wasn't quite sure how people would receive this, but I'm going to continue. I'm going to look at Trivago. The reason why I'm looking at Trivago is because I am invested in Airbnb. So I kind of want to see how Trivago's earnings go, just to kind of maybe give me a little bit of a snapshot of what to expect with Airbnb's earnings that are coming later in the month. I think Airbnb travel in general is going to be monstrous going into the summer months, especially as people become more relaxed following Omicron. And I think that we're going to see people just either learn to live with COVID, even if we get another variant. I don't think another variant's going to kill anything. I could be wrong on that. But just given the way the speed in which we kind of just got over Omicron, which was maybe a month and a half of just, volatility revolving around that. I think that, the next variant probably isn't going to create anywhere near what we've seen. So I got my eye on Trivago. It's not really to be anything to go crazy over, but I just kind of wanted to keep that on the radar just to see what their earnings look like, to see if I could get some sort of picture painted for me of what my Airbnb position is going to do later in the month. So I'll go ahead and pull Lyft back up. That seemed to be the one that was moving the most. Spiked all the way to 43 after closing at 41.20. And we'll see where that goes. You got it, Bruce. Thanks so much. Philip Stroh said I had Trivago when I first started trading. Yeah, because it's nice and cheap, right? Well, Cardinal Weed has Corsair. Okay, so there's some people interested in Corsair. Enphase. Okay, yeah. If there's other ones, there's a lot of earnings today, but I wasn't quite sure which ones people would be interested in. We can look at Enphase as well. Yeah, I saw you in there. Karem says Lyft to $50 after earnings. I know you got a position in Lyft, so yeah, we're definitely going to continue to keep an eye on that. Let's keep that up on here. I'm gonna keep an eye on the numbers as they come through. Okay. Looking that up right now. See if those numbers come in. Nothing yet. Nothing yet on that. Charlie says Airbnb was downgraded today. Yeah, Charlie, Airbnb was downgraded. Last time it was downgraded, it only went up $80 a share after that. I think somebody from Goldman Sachs downgraded it to 135, and then it went to 210. So, analysts upgrades and downgrades are kind of a crapshoot. Honestly, it's like getting the weatherman to predict the weather. You just never know. Appreciate the love, Pittsburgh T. Says hit the like button. Yes, if you guys wouldn't mind hitting that, I certainly would appreciate it. Enphase, looks like some people are really interested in Enphase. That's actually shot up here too. It's up 3%, almost 4% now. That's actually really moving. Let's take a look to see if those numbers are out. Those numbers are out. As soon as I have them, I'll shoot them over to you. The expectation here, what was the expectation for Enphase? Expected earnings per share was at 58 cents. The estimate for revenue was at 396.48 million. Stock is, oh my God, it's off the chart. What's going on here? It's now up 7.5%. Holy shit balls. Look at that. Really, talk about a boner candle. And it's still going. It is now up almost 9% after hours. Enphase looks like they absolutely crushed earnings. As soon as I get those numbers in, I'll shoot them off to you. But yeah, so far so good. Enphase is rocking right out the gate on their earnings. Not a whole lot of chatter on Twitter about it, though. Here's Lyft's numbers. Active riders, 18.73 million. Estimated 20.2 million. Let's see. What's the earnings per share? Is that 20 cents? Was the earnings per share? Revenue was 969. Estimated was 940. So looks like they crushed revenue. I don't know what the earnings per share were, but yeah, that's crazy. Look at this. Unbelievable move there from Enphase. It's still going. A little bit of a pullback here, but I'm trying to find the numbers. Still not finding them. Non-GAAP earnings per share 73 cents. Expectation was what did I say? 30 cents. Earnings per share of 241. Expected earnings was $1.02. Is that right? Did they crush it that much? I mean, given the price action, that would make sense. Now, here we go. Here we go. This is the actual numbers. That still crushed it. 73-cent beat to the 58-cent estimate. Sales were at 412 million to the 396. That's what I had said earlier. So yeah, 73-cent beat, 58-cent estimate, and 412 million revenue is 396. So that's what's going on with Enphase right now. It's still up 6.5%. A little bit of a pullback after it shot up nearly 10% after hours. That, ladies and gents, is what we call a boner candle. That looks fantastic. Lyft also had earnings as well. If you guys are just tuning in, make sure you hit that like button on your way in the door before we hear from Lyft. It looks like those earnings did come out. Let me get you the official numbers on those. Someone shared them in there. I just want to confirm. I always like to cross-reference. $0.08 looks like the consensus is 8 cents. Actual is 302 loss per share. Is that right? Lots of conflicting numbers here on Lyft. I'm getting. Mike, did I say tomorrow? Yes, it is Thursday. I said Thursday at the top of the show. I might have just misspoke just now. So yeah, CPI numbers are on Thursday. I think I kept thinking all day today that it's Wednesday. All right. As soon as I get these Lyft numbers, I'll let you. Here we go. Q4 revenue on Lyft was 970 versus 943 expected. That's pretty awesome. So revenue, they crushed it on. But the stock is now falling. It's down around 2%. Wonder what the guidance is. I bet the guidance isn't great. Wondering what the guidance is on Lyft. So it looks like they beat on revenue. Trying to get those numbers in on earnings per share. I think the official word here is they came at 9 cents versus 8 cents estimate. Yeah. All right. I got multiple reports now that say 9 cents estimate, or 9 cent was the actual, 8 cents was the estimate. So they beat on earnings per share just slightly by a penny. They came in. The big thing is they crushed earnings per or the revenue, I should say, 969 million. We'll call it 970. So it's 969.9, 970 million compared to 940 that was expected. So they did beat earnings pretty solidly there. Really nice beat on Lyft, but it looks as if maybe their outlook isn't great. Not quite sure why this is selling off here, but it is red here after hours, down 2.25. I know some people were in Lyft right now. So far, not looking great. But again, this is early, right? Anytime we see stocks move like this immediately after earnings come out, doesn't always mean anything. It could, we could hear something from the conference call that sends the stock shooting right back up. Some people might dig a little bit further into the earnings and get excited about something else that might be in there that sends the stock flying. So I don't want anybody to get in their feelings if this is immediately selling off, because you just never know. It's super early. We're only about 10 minutes into the close. So anything can happen. Just because this is down doesn't mean that won't be up when we wake up tomorrow or even later into the day. A couple other ones that had earnings today was XPO Logistics. It doesn't look like that's moving. I was actually interested in XPO as well. We'll come back to that if anybody's interested. Enphase was the big one so far that had really solid earnings. They came in and crushed their earnings per share, crushed on revenue as well by a lot. And the stock is up now 10%. I'm sorry, it's up $10, 6.5% after hours. Pretty decent move on that. Let me check in with you guys. What do I look at for actual data? There's quite a few things that you could look at for actual data. The problem is that when you're trying to find it as fast as possible, honestly, the best way I've been able to do that is through Twitter. Twitter just gets it to me as fast as I possibly can. And I could dig through Bloomberg. Bloomberg is a good resource. But I try to get out to you guys as quickly as possible. And so that is kind of what we're seeing there with Lyft. I'm just looking back at it. Yeah, it's down now 3.25%. But yeah, usually Twitter is kind of like the fastest way to go about doing it. Lots of legitimate accounts on there that will share earnings. And that's kind of the best way for me personally. It could be anywhere else. Looking at Chipotle, though, this is also another boner candle here. It's up almost 6%. Thanks, Karthik. Says Chipotle came in earnings per share 558 versus 521. So they beat our earnings per share. The revenue is 1.96 billion versus 1.96 billion. So they came in line with that on revenue, but they beat. This is interesting. And I think this is very telling. My expectations for Chipotle going into this were kind of grim, to be honest with you. The big, I guess, elephant in the room, especially for hospitality and businesses that heavily rely on their employees and retention there. I thought for sure that we would see a miss on earnings per share, despite whatever they came in on revenue, because of the fight to keep employees, right? Increasing wages, and I think that's going to be something that I certainly would have thought maybe could have affected Chipotle on their earnings per share, but it certainly looks like that is not the case here. The stock's now up 6%. So let's see where Chipotle could land tomorrow. Let's take a look at the daily chart. Right now it's sitting at 1544, 1572. We'll call it 1573 because it's like 1572 and 90 some cents. Looks to be the next area for potential resistance. If this opens up over that, if it opens up right where it's at now, around 1550, I think 1522 should act as support. That's this area right here. Let's take a look. So we draw here. This is that area of resistance, but now it should act as support with it being above that currently. So if we open up exactly where we're at right now, this should act as support. Then we have a resistance right here as well. That should be the spot to watch, guys. So that's, what did I say? 1563, 1566. That should be the next spot. And then it's met with the 50-day moving average represented by this yellow line here. And we have the 200 up here, that pink line. So the 50 day is at 1590. We have the 200 at 1660. This is great. This is a great move for Chipotle. I mean, I don't care. It doesn't seem to matter to me. And it doesn't seem to matter to other investors. What else is in this report? I'm sure they probably have a pretty decent outlook. Chipotle is just such a well-run company. But the fact that they came in above expectations on earnings per share is actually really remarkable considering the environment we're in. Chris, great question. So he asks about Enphase. Enphase, as I mentioned earlier, they came in and beat earnings per share, beat on revenue, like pretty handily. I mean, it was incredible. The stock's now up 10%. It's sitting at 158. There's actually a divergence here. I wouldn't say a divergence. We're at a crossroads with the 50 and a 200-day moving average right at 173. It's trading right now after hours around we'll call it 160. It's still pretty volatile right now. It's moving all over the place. So I'm just going to call it 160. I'm looking right here and I'm seeing potential resistance that was at 158. Let's mark that 158 here. So that should act as support if everything holds. If everything holds here, this should act as support. And then this area here, that 50 and 200-day moving average at 173, that's going to be your resistance, I think. It's very interesting, though, too. You can see that it kind of acted as support before falling below that. And so now I think that's certainly going to be a key area to watch for, is that 173 area for Enphase. I mean, you could almost kind of make the argument here that before the earnings today, this is it's a very ugly cup and handle, but this is a pretty decent cup and handle pattern, which usually is bullish for stocks. So 157.72 was previous resistance. We're well above that now, sitting at 158, 159. And so the next stop for this should be around 173. That'll be the next that'll be the next resistance for that. Great questions, guys. Do you want me to do that from now on? Do you want me to do that for all of the other ones? Let me know in the comments. What do you guys think? Each time earnings come out, do you want me to give like my technical breakdown on those? I'm trying to figure out how to like make this a little bit more regimented, more structured. Looking at Corsair, they had earnings after hours as well. Stock is now up. It was up today pretty big. It was up almost 6% on the day, and then now after hours, it's up another 5%. Let's see if I can find those numbers for you guys. Revenue was around 510 million. It looks as if, let me just double check. Looks like they crushed it. Yeah, 25 cents was the estimate. 35 cents was the actual per share. Estimate for revenue was 495, and they came in at 510. So yeah, Corsair killed it. And this is actually also very surprising. I think, okay, you guys are giving me some good feedback here. Yeah, so you want me to do technical breakdowns on these? Okay, I like this. Agreed, Wakar. Here's the thing with Corsair. This is one of the stocks that really got killed after the pandemic. You can see here, November of 2020 was the peak. And then things kind of started to fall off. Why was Corsair doing so well during the pandemic? Because people were playing more video games at home. You saw more streamers being made in as far as gaming is concerned over the pandemic. And so demand was just super high, right? We're all stuck in our homes. We're doing one of a few things. We're playing games, video games in particular. We're watching YouTube. My YouTube channel blew up in 2020, into 2021, and it was a lot of fun. It was it was great. My hope is that we can kind of, continue to keep this going. The only way that happens is if you guys share this video, if you like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Please do that so we can continue to grow here. But the thing is with Corsair, this has just been struggling ever since, right? Because the growth was slowing. People were going back to work. They weren't stuck at home anymore. But now this is very promising. $510 million in revenue. That's pretty good for a company that's this small. And the growth is pretty nice. Stock's up right now. I don't know what the outlook is here. And obviously it's still early, but Corsair looks to be pretty good. The 50-day moving average, this is the daily chart. 50-day moving average is right around $20.50. So we're trading above that right now in after hours trading. Again, like I said, it's still early. But that should act as a support now. $20.50 should act as support. The next area of resistance, I would imagine, is going to be It's very interesting, especially if this changes direction here. Let's do this. Let's draw because this has been in a pretty decent descending channel pretty much since here. So we can draw that there. That's a descending channel, and it's been pretty organized, right? In that downward trend. So we break out of this channel. Can I draw stuff in here? I've never really drawn anything like legit. Oh, can I draw? Oh, no, we're not in drawing mode. But either way, I would love to be able to just draw like an arrow. Let me see if I can do that. Oh, yeah, here we go. So if this breaks out this way, right? This is what we're kind of looking for. So we're looking for a breakout of this channel. So that's going to give us what we would call a reversal. So this breaks over the 50-day moving average, which currently it's trading above that. Like I said, 2057. It's got to sustain that. If it opens above that 50-day moving average tomorrow, we could see the momentum can continue. RSI is kind of chilling in the middle, right around 50. So that's gives it plenty of room to run. Kind of pretty moderate risk to reward there. And I think that if we break out of this channel, that should be great for Corsair. The problem is that every time it's tried to do that, it's kind of just gotten beaten back down. But maybe this could be good for them. Earnings were great. They beat on earnings per share. They beat revenue. I still think that this is probably something that I would just be cautious with, just given the environment that we're in. How much more demand are we going to see to keep Corsair going and growing? That'll be interesting. I'm not sure. You can kind of see right now it's actually going red. Like I said earlier, it was still pretty early into their earnings, so I'm wondering what the outlook looks like here. But that's my thoughts on Corsair. Still like the company. Wakar says when you compare it to Logitech, Corsair has more diverse portfolio of products. Yeah, but I think I'd like to get your thoughts on this. Logitech and Corsair are probably direct competitors of each other. There's other competitors out there, but those are probably the two biggest ones. I've always been a big fan of Logitech because I actually thought they were diverse. I didn't think that they were necessarily catering to the gaming community like Corsair was. I have Corsair products and Logitech products. I have a Corsair liquid cooler for my PC right now. And so it's a great product. It's done well. But I think they are direct competitors of each other. Obviously, Logitech has use cases for gaming, but I think Logitech is more so for also like the work from home. If I'm somebody who does nothing with gaming and I want to work from home, I'm probably buying a Logitech keyboard or Logitech mouse or whatever other hardware products that I would use. I'm probably going to think about Logitech first, not Corsair. If I'm a gamer, I'm probably going the Corsair first over a Logitech. So that's the dynamic there. I'm sure people would have opinions about it, and you can feel free to throw them in the chat. But yeah, office boomer type. I think maybe that's me. I think maybe I'm the office boomer type. I like the game though too. I'm not like hardcore in the gaming, but I'll play some. I play some Halo. Halo's my jam. Call of Duty's my jam. I'll play a little bit of Madden, but that's kind of like the extent of my gaming. At Own the Chaos is my gamer tag, by the way. I'm an Xbox guy. So yeah. Ooh, let's go back to the chart. Corsair's now crashing down here. This is how earnings goes, guys. I wonder what's going on in that earnings report. Is the guidance not great? Why don't people like this now? It's down 11% after it was up 5% right out the gate. Holy shit. It's now down 12%. Okay, so let's revisit the chart here. So now we're still within this channel, right? It's trading right now at $18. So it's actually going to, so $15, $16 will be the bottom of this channel. Yikes. Gosh, you just never know with earnings. You just never know. Things go crazy with this stuff. Lyft also is still red. If you guys are just tuning in, we got about 200 of y'all. hanging in here. So pretty decent move down on Lyft after beating revenue and beating earnings per share. Must be something in the outlook that people aren't liking. That's why this is selling off, but we'll have to take a closer look at that. Corsair is starting to fight its way back here. It was down as much as 10%, now only down 7%. That's crazy. Let's take a look back at Enphase. Enphase was one of the big ones today that did really well off of earnings, and that stock is now up almost 13% and still going. Not one red candle since, I'm sorry, look at this tiny little guy. This is a 5-minute chart. So each one of these candles represents 5 minutes of trading. And so we have one little tiny candle here, but mostly green. Lots of buying coming in for Enphase. Really nice move on that. What's Peloton doing? So Peloton is actually up, but Peloton's earnings came out surprisingly this morning. The expectation was that they were going to come out this afternoon, and I guess they decided to release them this morning instead because of the appointment of their new CEO. Maybe that had something to do with it. And this was interesting because you looked at, I don't know what the deal was with this. I was looking at some of the headlines and nobody was talking about earnings that were released this morning. It was all about this new CEO. It was kind of like, are we just masking the fact that their earnings were just absolute garbage? And was everybody expecting earnings to be absolute garbage? And so that's why everybody was like, whatever, we'll just buy it. I don't know. That was really weird. So the earnings did come out. They missed earnings per share. They missed on revenue. Horrible. It was bad. It was bad. But the appointment of a new CEO, I guess, is what got people excited. Oh, here we go. XPO Logistics. This is interesting, guys. You might not have heard of XPO Logistics, or you might have. If you have heard of XPO, put it in the chat. Let me know what you guys think about it. But XPO is a transports company. And what I mean by that is you might have seen, if you're a little bit older, you might have seen some of the Conway trucks going up and down the road. XPO bought them out. They're a transports service company. They actually have a company that they spun off called GXO Logistics, also a transports related company, and they just started trading not too long. This is when they spun them out this over the summer last year. But XPO just had earnings, and it looks like they did pretty well. Their earnings were not great because of supply chain issues, and obviously they were held up, so extra costs there. And I think the concern here is also costs related to having to pay truckers to continue to run the country. And so I think that's going to be a cause for concern as far as extra expense, but the demand for transports is still considerable. So this $60 support is probably going to be something worth hanging on to. I still like XPO, even though it's fallen out of favor. This last quarter was brutal for XPO, but I still like them. The stock's up 2.5% right now. I'm sure that the earnings were probably somewhat decent if we're seeing a move like this. Let's see. Earnings per share. Yeah, so they beat $5 earnings per share. 473 was the expected. Oh, I take that back. That's adjusted earnings per share. The actual earnings per share is $1.34, beating the 99-cent estimate. Sales were at $3.6 billion compared to the $327 billion that was expected. So they crushed earnings. Stocks up 2.5%. My transportation stock is Zim. Yeah, there's a lot of other ones. There's a lot of other transportation stocks. You could look at Old Dominion. That's one that ODFL is the ticker symbol there. This is stuff that you probably will not find on any other channel, guys. I'm telling you. And if you are curious about this and you want to see more of this stuff that not everybody like. If you're sick of hearing about Tesla all the time or any of the FANGs all the time, we still talk about that. But listen, I always try to bring stuff that people don't think about looking at on this channel. And I'm telling you, you're not going to find it on the big four. That's for sure. You want to continue to hear about stock market crashes, by all means, just continue to follow the big four, guys. But you want something fresh, you want something new, something you never heard of, hit that subscribe button, hit the like. For me talking about transports. But Old Dominion is definitely one that I would consider taking a look at. This is actually one that has corrected, bounced right off the 200-day moving average, and this looks great. I think that their earnings were pretty decent as well. That's one that I think is worth continuing to hold on to and own. You can even look at transports like Union Pacific. Trains. Transport trains. Yeah, CSX is in there. You guys probably are familiar with CSX trains, but this is the daily chart as well. Look, if it makes you money, who cares? And you could have bought this a year ago and done really well. I don't think that this slows down at all. I think Union Pacific, they have a really nice dividend too. This is worth holding on to. Lyft is down because they fell short of active riders. Isn't that crazy? That's not that this will be an opportunity to buy the dip on Lyft, in my opinion. For them to come in, revenue expectation beat for a earnings per share beat, and yeah, active riders was down. You know why? You know why, Amal? Amal says Lyft is down because they fell short of active riders. I appreciate you sharing that. I think that the reason why is because of Omicron, right? So the expectation here is probably that you're going to see more riders as we move our way out of this. I think this is, something that I would probably look to buying the dip on a Lyft. I actually prefer Lyft over Uber. Uber still just has no path to profitability, especially in the Uber Eats side of their business. I don't know what they're doing over there. I've had this debate with a lot of people, but I think Lyft is actually the better stock to own. And it closed above the 50-day moving average. So now that we're seeing this, so it's down around 3.5%. It's trading at $39.78 as I'm speaking here. So at 39, it's sitting right around here. If it continues to sell off, we can make the argument that maybe around 37 or 36.50. Here's 36.50, right? There's that 36.50 mark. So watch for that. Then if we see a bounce, that 50-day moving average is still going to come into play. It's right around $40. What's that? $40, 35 cents, 55 cents, $40.55. So that's going to be an area to watch. That 50-day moving average. We got the 200. It's way up here at $50. So the next stop, if it does actually see a bounce, maybe and get up over the 50-day, I can see this testing all the way up here, resistance around 44.67, 44.70. So that'll be interesting. Interesting one to watch. I do think that's probably a potential dip buy opportunity for Lyft. Because if that's the reason that it's selling off of active riders, to me, that's just an indictment on what was going on during, Omicron and all that. And guys, I do this stuff every single day, by the way. If you guys are not part of the Chaos Crew, I would encourage you to check that out. All the technical analysis you're seeing me do here, I do every morning, and I put out a write-up on the stocks that I think are going to move that day and beyond. I think that when I see charts with really nice setups, I share them with our Chaos Crew for $4.99 a month. It's literally nothing. It's very little risk to you. If you guys want to check it out and support everything you see behind you, support the channel, I certainly would appreciate it. If you hit the join button next to subscribe and you get that watch list for me, you also get access to our Discord group. I also go live on Thursday nights after I go live here, and we have a private stream for our level 2 crew as well. You get access to my portfolio, live trade alerts, all that good stuff. If you go and hit that join button next to subscribe, you can see people with icons next to their names. They're already part of the crew. They can tell you all about it as well. We could also go to ownthechaos.com and sign up there. But if you just want the quick sign up, you can hit the join button next to subscribe. Berkshire Hathaway B shares are still rocking. Yeah, that was one that we talked about a lot, especially on the breakout there on that chart. All right. I appreciate you, Phil. I appreciate you. I appreciate you, man. Corsair actually had really good earnings, but they actually beat on earnings per share and then beat on revenue. Stock is down though, and it's actually coming back. The stock was down as much as 10%. Now it's fighting its way back. It's only down around 1.75%. What a wild move for that. Jesus. Buying back is coming here, guys. I already went over the technical analysis for this, so if you missed it, go ahead and go back into the stream and watch it. But on the potentials there, holy shit, what a crazy move. This was up 10%, then down 10%, and now it's kind of flat. It's down 2%, but fighting back here. What a crazy volatile move out of there for Corsair. That's wild. What else we got, guys? Level 2 is better. Couldn't agree more. Check out the ownthechaos.com or go hit the join button next to subscribe. We'd love to have you guys as a part of the crew. All right, let's see here. What else we got going on? Anything else that you guys want me to take a look at? We did talk about Enphase and they crushed earnings. Let's see. See where that's at right now. They crushed earnings per share. They crushed revenue. That's still going, guys. It's now up 14% almost after hours. Wow. What a move on that. What a move. We got 69 likes in here. Ew. Let's see if we can get it to like 100. I think 100 likes is reasonable. Yeah. Tomorrow we have another slew of earnings that are coming through. Some ones you guys might be interested in. Let's go ahead and take a look at what's in store for tomorrow. And I'll be live again at 3:45 p.m. Eastern time, as I always am. If you guys want to get my live reactions to earnings and as they start to come in, be sure to hit that notification bell to get notified when I do go live. Tomorrow's a big day, though. Pre-market, we have CVS. That's going to be something certainly to watch. Canopy Growth, which is kind of meh. And everything else is pretty quiet. There's Honda, Tiva, nothing too crazy in the pre-market other than CVS. After hours, though, is Disney, Uber, Twilio, Zynga, who just got bought out by Take-Two, Mattel, Sonos, MGM Resorts, iRobot, in case anybody's interested in that. So pretty good lineup there. Disney's going to be obviously the big headliner. I think Disney's going to be one exciting one to watch. Look at Enphase. It's still going up well over 14% now. Still crushing it. That's a big winner of the day, I think, for earnings. Let's take a look at that Disney chart real quick and kind of give you a preview of what's to expect for tomorrow. So Disney, is continually gotten beaten down. My thoughts on Disney here is that I am interested to see how investors react. Are they going to react to the parks opening back up and the outlook that they have on their parks, which, by the way, was their number one revenue driver before the pandemic took place. And it's been really tough for Disney, especially costs incurred with keeping everybody safe from COVID and trying to reopen their parks and everything else. But I think that this is Disney's year, especially when it comes to parks. I think that takes back over the number one spot on revenue. But the one thing that I think people or investors might be frustrated with is Disney Plus. Is Disney going to get punished because Disney Plus may suffer the same fate as Netflix as far as subscriber growth is concerned? Or are they going to forgive Disney on that side of things and really kind of focus on the reopening of the parks and that side of their business? Me personally, I would care a lot more about the parks opening back up and the outlook they have there. I think the guidance should be spectacular on that front, especially as we're now through Omicron, and it doesn't appear that we're going to be suffering any other issues as far as COVID's concerned. I think summertime is going to be amazing. I think it's going to be nuts as far as demand's concerned, which is why I'm looking to get into more and more travel stocks. If you guys haven't noticed, we're seeing the airliners start to really move. We're starting to see the cruises even start to make moves a little bit. The casinos have really started to move. We can take a look at Penn National. That's one of our favorite casinos. You guys know that we like that stock. Penn, MGM has also started to make some pretty decent moves. So these are all starting to move, guys. And so this is why I'm really looking forward to Disney talking about their parks opening back up. To me, I think that's going to be something to really watch out for. I'm going to give some more thoughts on that tomorrow. And obviously it doesn't matter what I think, right? It's going to matter what everybody else thinks as far as Disney Plus. And I get it. It's been something that's been a highlight for Disney over the last 18 months, really 2 years since they've had Disney Plus active. But we can't dismiss the fact that Disney makes a shit ton of money on parks. We just can't. That's their big moneymaker. And if they can come out and say, hey, guess what? We're going to be full capacity. We're going to be pretty much restriction free by the summertime. That's our expectation. I would think that you put Disney Plus on top of that. That's icing on the cake to me. But, who knows? Who knows? I'm fearful that the reaction is going to be something like a Netflix where they talk about, subscriber growth slowing, on the Disney Plus front because everybody's fighting for your attention as far as streaming is concerned. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong about that. And I hope that people really do focus on the park side of their business actually coming back online fully. So we'll see what that's going to be a big question mark for their earnings tomorrow. And I hope you guys will join me tomorrow again at 3:45 p.m. Eastern time. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell to get notified when I do go live, because that's going to be a fun time. I can't wait to see you guys tomorrow. And that's going to do it for me. Again, if you guys want to be part of the Chaos Crew and get a watch list from me every single day before the market opens, 5 stocks that I put together. I give a really nice write-up. I give technical analysis on all of them. Guys, if you want to support the channel and everything you see behind me, hit that join button next to subscribe and become part of the crew. And that's going to do it for me. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.